Good evening, Kershaw County. This is the Tuesday, February 14th, regularly scheduled meeting for Kershaw County Council, and I call this meeting to order. All right, we will start with our invocation from Pastor Craig Blankenship. Mr. Blankenship, if you'll come to the podium, please, and just make sure the mic is really close to your mouth.
So I don't know how to do it. Most of the time they tell me to pull it away from my mouth. So. My name is Craig Blankenship. I am the pastor of Bethany Baptist Church up in Westville. Have the pleasure of knowing quite a few of you. If I don't, love to get to know you. I have been resident of Kershaw County for 17 years, and we love it here, love the people here, and love the servants here. And I consider it a privilege to get to open you up in prayer today. Just want to share one verse with you before I say that prayer. It's one of my favorite verses, and Jesus is speaking. He says, "The greatest among you shall be your servant." And so I always try to hold that close. And so let us pray. God, we love you. We thank you for this day that you have blessed us with. Father, help us to be reminded that greatness comes through serving and serving well. Father, I pray that we would be people who serve each other, who serve you first, God, that we would seek you in all that we do. Father, I pray your blessing on this meeting today, Lord, that it would be done productively, God, that it would be done in a way that honors you. God, that everything that we do would honor you, because we know that is where success is found. Father, we pray that you would guide us and be with us. I pray your blessing on these leaders and these representatives, that they would know your presence, that they would follow you in what they do and the decisions they make. And God, we just love you. We thank you so much for Jesus who died on the cross for us, and we pray these things in his name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Blankenship. Do we have Councilman Jones on the phone? No? Okay. All right. If everyone will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Public comments. Mr. DeBose, did we have any sign up?
Yes, Madam Chairwoman. We have 6 people who signed up.
Okay, great.
And the first person is Donnie Cato.
Hey, Mr. Cato.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Town Council. I come down to speak with you about a problem that I think exists in the town of Bethune. Bethune is a part of Kershaw County, autonomous by nature, self-governing, supposedly, and ran into an issue up there the other night in a public call meeting. It was advertised on the road sign, and Madam Chairman was there. So I have some questions, then I'll have a comment, and I'll promise you I'll be through before 20 minutes. The first thing I want to make sure that we don't have a misunderstanding about what I'm about to say, because it's very important, in my opinion. The Sheriff's Department of Kershaw County furnishes 1, 2, or more deputies to the town of Bethune daily. Now, my question about that is, who's paying the Kershaw County deputies to spend most of their day, most of their shift in the town of Bethune? Primarily, don't have a lot of violence in Bethune. If I say that, somebody will probably break loose. But they're writing speeding tickets because people drive too fast in Bethune, through Cassett, through Camden, through Columbia, down the interstate at 90 miles an hour. Do they need to be up there for that? Sure they do. But who's paying them? Who's paying those deputies? I think, and I'll leave that open, just keep that in mind. I think the county of Kershaw is paying those deputies. I could be wrong with that. Bethune might be contributing a few dollars, but I doubt Bethune has very many dollars to contribute. Don't have that many businesses in Bethune for the money to come from. The money has to come from somewhere. So this is what I would like to ask. First question. How is that money divided up? No one in here probably knows the answer to that unless it's my representative, Mr. Cato. Now, he may know because he's a part of the sheriff's office. How is that money divided up? They just passed up there in Monday night's meeting, is the way I understood it, a $500 cap on fines. Now, I know that it's up to the judge what he decides how much the speeding ticket's going to cost an individual, right? Mr. Tucker's a part of that group one time, I think. The judge does the deciding, okay? Where does that money go? Does it go to Bethune? Does it go to Camden, to the county, to the sheriff's department, or does it go to the state? And how much is each one get out of the $500, $200, whatever the ticket's price is? Now, this is a very important part of what I must say, and it will not shock the chairman whatsoever because she was present. In that town meeting, the outside of the town limit people that reside in that area have been there like myself most of their lives, run businesses there before, were not allowed to speak. Were not allowed to speak.
Mr. Cato, you've spoken 4 minutes. You have
4
1 minute
minutes
left.
out of 20, right? 1 minute? I better speed up a little bit. There's one businessman up there. His grandfather ran a business there, had the only new car dealership in the history of Bethune. Went back into the 30s, 40s, 50s on. He's also a combat veteran. He got up to ask the mayor if he could speak. No, sit down. Now that's no way to talk to anyone. Sit down was the only 2 words she used, no and sit down. Even there was a person there that was representing the group. She lived in town, was going to speak for the outside group, and she was not allowed to speak on their behalf. No, sit down. My last point, I think here, is this. If Kershaw County Council can't fix that problem in Bethune with that mayor, then I would suggest, it's a suggestion of mine, because I've seen the governor remove mayors, that you should talk to the mayor of the governor of South Carolina and take care of that problem. Now, whether that's taking her out of office or taking care of the problem, okay? My 5 minutes is up. Okay? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Cato. Mr. Templer, can you call Mr. Cato tomorrow and get him the information about the money for the sheriff's office and who's paying the deputies? Thank you.
The second person signed up is Ken Carras.
Afternoon.
Hi, Ken.
I got a couple questions. Okay? You're at the chain of command, okay? I've moved my way up to here so far. Gone through my councilman, gone through the other people. I live on West Drive in Cassett. Okay? We have a wooden bridge down on there that is slowly sinking in. It's It's out of level. The one corner is down 7 inches. In a 14-inch span, it's down 7 inches more than the rest. The retaining wall on the side is starting to give way. I went to road people, talked to them. No answer. Nobody can seem to tell me when this bridge was inspected last. Yes, it's supposedly a 5-ton bridge. Now, I mean, pickup trucks, a full-size pickup weighs between 3 and 4 ton alone. The gentleman that does the road grading on that road drives over it with that big road grader. Okay? Now, I don't know what model it is, so I couldn't figure out what the tonnage was on it, and that all depends if they're air-filled or gas-filled tires, or water-filled tires. They use both on those vehicles. Now, I just wanted to know when it was inspected. Secondly, in front of my house, he's going deeper and deeper with this sand. My second driveway down was only for propane trucks to get in. They couldn't get in anymore because it was too steep. Called the gentleman that was on the road committee, who I happen to know. He come out with the foreman. They looked at it. We'll fix it. So he sent the guy out, supposedly, well, instead of a backhoe, he came with the road grader to fix it. He started up and stalled. Well, I know why he stalled, but I didn't see. He backed up, got a little less of a cut, and 3 big pipes rolled out, concrete pipes, 16-inch pipes. He said, what are these? Now these, mind you, were probably a good foot. The bottom of them was a good foot off of the road base. I told him, I said, well, I'm just a dumb Yankee. I said, but I can tell you one thing. Originally, there was a ditch on this road, and that was the drainage under that driveway. That's no longer there anymore. And then when I went on, what's the name of that? Goodall. Over by Goodall Park to the garage there to talk to that gentleman. I asked him the same questions. Wouldn't give me an answer on when it was inspected last. Between my house and Route 1, it goes all the way to Route 1. I'm the last house, and the rest of the house, there's nothing down there. I put a game camera up on the road just to be curious. I had one pickup truck go by in a week. But the one gentleman that came to deliver propane, he came out of Bethune. He didn't know any difference. He came down through there. He came across that bridge. He said, you can't turn around. It's only 11 foot wide, the road, so you can't even pass another car. So he came across it. He says, I had a full load. He said, I was scared to death coming across that bridge. Anyway, the other question I had, they happened to show me when I was at that office in Goodall. They wanted to look up on the state map where my road was and where this bridge was. They did. And lo and behold, there is blacktop down to my second driveway on the state map.
You have 1 more minute.
And it's not. It's not blacktop, it's sand. So who got paid for pouring that blacktop? It's on the state map. Somebody got paid for it. Who? I would really enjoy an answer for that one. The last gentleman that came out that my councilman sent gave me the runaround as usual. Well, we'll try and get some gravel down there, at least on your, I says, all the other homes that you go on where there's sand roads and there's homes, they got gravel. I don't. Even my driveway, I've had to widen my apron because he's digging down there. So I would just appreciate some answers to my questions. If you could help me out, I'd appreciate it. Okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I have some pictures if anybody would like to see them.
Okay. I would love to see them. Mr. Templer, can you also call Ken tomorrow? Find out if that's a county road or a state road, and the situation with the bridge
Yes,
inspection
county
date.
roads.
Okay,
Take care of.
thank you.
Third person signed up is Tim Taylor.
Good
Hi,
evening.
Tim.
Hello. I've kind of noticed that since you've taken over, the new theme of the council is to be a good neighbor. So I coupled that with what Mr. Templer did with his +1 program, and I came up with a Good Neighbor Award. And basically, once a quarter, people would have a means to send in what somebody has done for somebody else, what, great things they've done. Each councilman it would be gone through by somebody else, which would probably end up being me since I'm talking about it. But it would be disseminated to each one of the councilmen to pick 3 people, and then it'd be up to you to pick a winner from each district. I was going to do a presentation, but if there wasn't any interest in it, I didn't want to do it yet. Won't come out of any county funds. I can solicit local businesses to give rewards if they'd like and go from there. The most the county would have to pay for is maybe printing a certificate. And I'll pay for that too if I have to. If you like this idea, you know how to get in contact with me. So do that and we can move forward. And if needed, I can make a presentation. The second thing we have is, unfortunately, my wife and I missed a night to shine because special needs kids and animals are very dear to us. Sir, would you be able to pass that out to the council? That's just a flyer. There's going to be another chance to honor these kids and special needs adults at the Easter egg hunt that the Lugoff Masonic Lodge is putting on. It's April 2nd, 1 to 4 p.m. They got a magician, bunch of fun games, and you can go to Eventbrite or their website to get more information on it. But I wanted you guys to know that and give you the chance to come and show your support for these kids and adults. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. I think that's a great idea, and we'll get together on it, okay? On the Good Neighbor Award.
The next person that signed up, the fourth person, is Matthew Hutchinson.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, good evening. A couple things I just wanted to put out on the public record. I think the county council's already working on it, maybe. The county planning committee is a 7-member board. 4 out of the 7 members are from the same district, District 2. There are several districts that are not represented on that planning committee. I think there should be one from each and maybe an at-large seat. I think one of the 7 is an at-large seat appointed by the chair. I just think with the direction that this county is going as far as the growth, the new 10-year plan, comprehensive plan, and whatnot, that we should have equal representation on this board. I'm not sure what can be done about it because the people are appointed for a set amount of years. Now, to get this list, I had to call the Planning and Zoning Committee, speak to a supervisor, and have it emailed to me because this list was not on the county website. All the other commissions' lists of people are on the website, but this one was not for some reason. So I just wanted to put that out on public record and ask y'all to see what we can do about that to get equal representation. Another thing is our Kershaw County legislative delegation. A concern that came up was our director of that Kershaw County legislative delegation does not reside in Kershaw County and hasn't for some time. The only connection to Kershaw County I can see is some friendships with people in downtown Camden, some prominent people, I guess we could say. I'm not going to name any names, but I'm not sure what the rules are on this. I did reach out to Representative Connell. His response was basically, there's no resident rule. We can pick who we want as long as they have the right credentials, and this is who he chose. I think he's the one who nominated this individual, and the delegation voted. So I don't know if an ordinance needs to be passed for this. I'm sure the people of Kershaw County would like anybody who has anything to do with our political process should live in Kershaw County. I know I would, but I'm not speaking for everybody. That's pretty much it. I saw on the agenda tonight, just earlier, that the Council of Governments, we're going to appoint somebody else. I didn't know nominations were open, if that's the case. If so, I'd like to nominate Jeff Maddox for that position. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
The next person that signed up is Tom Webb III.
I proclaim this Who Killed Scalia Month. 7 years ago, Antonin Scalia died under unusual circumstances. Hardly anybody here would remember that now, but he was a very important person. Don't want to forget him. I wonder how many things can we continue to forget and still have some control over our future. Humans tend to forget. There's so many dreadful things in our lives, people we've lost. We don't want to just remember that as though it just happened yesterday, but there are some things that we should not forget. So Scalia is one of them. I'll come back to that in just a minute. There are some very well-intentioned people who want us to have a constitutional convention or a states' rights convention, not states' rights, a states' convention or Article 5 convention, which could turn into a constitutional convention. Very well-intentioned people who want to do something about term limits and balanced budget. But there are some wicked people in the world, and a lot of them live in this country. They would love to get hold of something like a constitutional convention, and they would do away with much of our Constitution, certainly the Bill of Rights. You lose your right to free speech, religion, Second Amendment, states' rights. First 10 amendments would certainly be thrown out, and they would just rewrite it. That happened one time before, kind of back in the 1700s when we were under the Articles of Confederation, and the Constitutional Convention was supposed to meet to fix that, to repair it, but they just threw it out and started over. It could happen again. So if anybody wanted to amend the Constitution, it's been amended plenty times, one step at a time, instead of going at it with a shotgun and maybe doing too many things and losing control of it. Now, there are people who say, well, we wouldn't lose control of it, but you look at who's in control of things at the federal government level now. I don't think we feel that we're seeing much control. I don't know how you could keep control of it. And this brings me back to Scalia, Supreme Court Justice, very strong on the Constitution. He and Justice Thomas. If it wasn't for them, I don't know where we would be. And if Scalia were alive today, things would be very different, I believe. But Scalia liked to go bird hunting, so he went on a hunting trip down in West Texas. Knew the fellow that owned the ranch, John Poindexter, 35,000-acre ranch and a convention center, quite fancy, but a hunting preserve. So Scalia went there, and he didn't come for breakfast. This was in 2016, in February. That's why this is Scalia month. So John Poindexter, the owner, knocked on the door. Mr. Scalia, are you coming for breakfast? No answer. Mr. Scalia. So he went in and he found Mr. Scalia, Supreme Court Justice Scalia, 34 years on the Supreme Court, appointed by Reagan, found him dead in bed with a pillow on his face. A pillow on his face. And he didn't get an autopsy. There was considerable confusion about what to do about this. Supreme Court Justice here dead on my property. What do we do? What do we do? They couldn't get anybody of any significance to come and make any kind of pronouncements. They finally did get a judge, I'm not sure what kind of judge, somebody on the telephone who said, well, don't worry about it, it's natural causes. So I guess he didn't need an autopsy. It's very interesting that the judge's name down there in West Texas, close to Mexico, the judge's name was Cinderella. Now, I'm not joking. I remember this from 7 years ago when it was in the news.
We have one more minute.
One more minute. Okay, well, there are people who would love to get control of it. George Soros, the Clintons, World Economic Forum. If somebody would assassinate our beautiful or wonderful Supreme Court justice. Well, somebody did assassinate President Kennedy and his brother, Robert Kennedy. Somebody did try to assassinate a whole bunch of Republicans. The other person with that name, similar to Scalia, Scalise, at a ball game among Republicans. It's been a couple of years ago. A sniper opened up on him. Scalia survived it barely. So this thing, people will say, well, this can't happen in America. It has happened. And how many other people have disappeared that weren't important enough to matter? As far as I know, there hasn't been any real investigation into what really happened. That in itself is a crime. I wish South Carolina would back away from this state's convention. It's nothing but trouble. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Webb.
The last person that signed up is Jeff Maddox.
Hey, Jeff.
Good evening, Miss Chairwoman. I've got to get used to that. I'm sorry. Derek, welcome to the club, or the fire, if you will. I don't really have much to talk about except trust. The last 3 years since the pandemic, the trust in all our institutions has been shaken, if not shattered. We've seen everything from masks that don't work, to social distancing that was made up, to locking down, to closing boat ramps, to mandating shots that don't prevent transmission and are not safe or effective. We've seen FBI censoring on Facebook and Twitter and all sorts of things. We've seen the CIA blow up the Nord Stream pipeline to start World War III. We've seen China balloons to distract us. We've seen all kinds of things to lead me to believe that I can't trust government whatsoever. We have a trust problem. And then on the other side, the government doesn't trust me. The FBI calls me a domestic terrorist because I speak against this sort of stuff. When I walk into county council, all these terrorists, potential terrorists out here are wanted. That shows me you don't trust us. Everywhere I go, I'm now surveilled and tracked, and my phone's tracked, and now they're talking about digital currencies. We're in a whirlwind of tyranny that keeps stepping up day by day by day by day. And you can see that what we're gonna, the war machine is gonna kill millions. And the next thing you know, there's gonna be Americans over there. And all of them dutifully obeying an unconstitutional war. We see this over and over and over again. And as obedient little slaves, we go to the meat grinder. We support it. Trust, I don't have any trust, but if the government says go, go. I think we've got to be more skeptical. We've got to ask more questions. We've got to pay more of attention. We've got to turn to God. We can't put our trust in men. We can't put our trust in government. We've got to put our trust in the Lord. And we've got to do what He says. You know, love each other and treat each other like He would. Every law can be judged by that simple rule. Look, don't harm anybody and don't steal their stuff. That's the basic rule. And if you can in any way move that back, limited government to where you look at these little laws and all these rules and regulations, and you judge them against that one thing, you'll do away with many of them. And perhaps we can move this ship in a more direction of limited government and individual liberty, with what we stood for 200 and some years ago. So we all need to try to build the trust, but we also need to verify it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Maddox.
That concludes the sign-up list.
Thank you, Mr. DeBose. Adoption of tonight's agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt this agenda?
Make a motion, excuse me, make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Okay, Mr. Tucker makes the motion,
Second.
and Mr. Cato seconds. Any discussion on tonight's agenda? Okay, all in favor of tonight's agenda, signify by raising your hand. And it's unanimous. All right, tonight we get to honor two groups. Well, we get to proclaim Black History Month and honor North Central High School. So we'll move on to that. First will be the North Central High School proclamation. This was placed on the agenda by Councilman Danny Cato for District 6, and I will read it. A proclamation honoring North Central High School principals. Whereas David Branham is a graduate of North Central High School, and after graduating from college, he began a teaching career at North Central High School and served as principal at Mount Pisgah Elementary and Bethune Elementary, and was then hired as the principal of North Central High in 2014. And whereas Meredith Ogburn Kirkland served as a teacher at Camden High and Camden Middle, and served as a curriculum effectiveness specialist at E.L. Wright Middle School in Richland County, and was then hired as assistant principal at North Central High in 2018. And whereas Tabitha Strickland served as special education coordinator for Berkeley County School District and lead special education teacher and department head at Cane Bay High School, and was then hired as assistant principal at North Central High School in 2020. And whereas North Central High School was organized in 1979 with the merger of Barron DeKalb, Midway, and Mount Pisgah High Schools, the facility was placed on a 60.35-acre campus on Lockhart Road between Highway 521 and Highway 341. In 1999, Bethune High School was closed, and both the students and staff of Bethune High School joined the North Central High School family. And whereas on January 12, 2020, the North Central High School staff, students, and parents faced a major tragedy when a tornado touched down directly on the campus, causing major destruction to the building and sports facilities. And whereas District 6 Councilman Danny Cato's son attended North Central High School when the tornado struck. Councilman Cato's family experienced the pain, sorrow, and uncertainty of both students and staff that resulted from the tornado's devastation. Students, faculty, and the entire community were left in uncertainty with no school to call home. And whereas in March 2020, the COVID-19 outbreak presented a second set of serious issues and challenges to the North Central High School community, with COVID-19 forcing school closures and students learning from home. And whereas despite the physical devastation to North Central High School campus, and despite the challenges caused by the COVID-19 school closures, Principal David Branham demonstrated great courage, positivity, and strength of leadership to the North Central High School community. And whereas Assistant Principals Meredith Kirkland and Tabitha Strickland were instrumental in rallying the North Central High School staff, students, and families with effective leadership and resolve. And whereas Principal David Branham and Assistant Principals Meredith Kirkland and Tabitha Strickland set the example for resiliency to North Central High School staff, students, and family. These principals, along with the entire North Central High School staff, went above and beyond to make sure the students of North Central had a positive and enjoyable high school experience. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Kershaw County Council expresses appreciation and gratitude to Principal David Branham, Assistant Principal Meredith Kirkland, and Assistant Principal Tabitha Strickland for their exemplary leadership, positive attitude, and unwavering resolve in guiding the North Central High School community. Signed by Kershaw County Council on this 14th day of February, 2023. Is there a motion to accept the proclamation?
I'll make a motion we adopt the proclamation recognizing Principal David Branham, Assistant Principal Meredith Ogburn Kirkland, and Assistant Principal Tabitha Strickland.
Okay, Mr. Cato, motion?
Second. I yield. I yield to Mr. Thomason.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Tomlinson. Any discussion? I'll give you the floor first, Mr. Cato, since you put this on the agenda.
This was something that I had thought about a long time. As it says in the proclamation, I was present during these times of uncertainty with North Central High School. The devastation that took place in January of 2020 affected not just the school and the students, but it affected the whole community. And I've seen it firsthand. Students that lost a school that they call home, athletes that lost a place to play home games. Then in March of 2020, we had the COVID outbreak. Schools were shut down. Athletic events were stopped. School was done from home. It really took a toll on the students, the staff, and the families. When school started back up, I started substituting at some of the schools around North Central. And I got a bird's eye view, especially at North Central High School, of exactly what these three individuals did for North Central High School. Now, I do not want to take away from what their staff did. They had a staff that went through major change. They had students going through major changes in their life. They had a cafeteria staff that fixed meals at a separate location and transported those meals to the school to serve the students. That's dedication. That's resilience. And it was all from the leadership of these three individuals. I personally want to thank these three individuals. Sometimes I feel like it being a country school, we may get overlooked sometimes, but that's a great group of people. It's a great school, and I thank you for everything you did and everything you continue to do. We have two school board members here, Dr. Charles King and newly elected David Roberts. They're both graduates of North Central High School. I did not graduate from North Central High School. I graduated from Bethune. But I do feel like an adopted part of the family up there with my children going and graduating from there and being very active in the school. And I consider North Central home now. And I thank y'all for making me feel that way.
Thank you, Mr. Cato. Any other comments? All right. Yes, Mr. Tucker.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Cato, for putting this on the agenda. And I just want to say thank you to Mr. Branham and his lovely staff and assistants up there at North Central. I'm often reminding the kids as I continue to drive them through the driver's ed that North Central is the hidden jewel of Kershaw County. They have all the things that they need and all the things that the other school has, but they're in a location where they don't have as much trouble. And I think that's a blessing within itself. And I say that, and I also ask them to compare the other schools in their conferences and in their league on their facilities and their teachers and their principals and staff, and there's no comparison. So we thank you guys. Continue to do a great job. Continue to educate our future. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Any other comments? All right, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of this proclamation? And it's unanimous. Is David, Meredith, and I see Meredith, Tabitha here with us tonight? Could y'all come up, please? Let's give them a round of applause while they come up.
Everybody else coming down? Yeah.
Here, can I shoot you over there just to balance it? Yes, perfect. Okay, ready?
Yeah, you go first.
All right, everybody with me. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let everybody else have their moment. Everybody good? Wait a minute. We're good. Congratulations.
There's a lot of fun parts about this job, and that's one of them when we get to recognize the community. All right, moving on to our next proclamation. A proclamation honoring National Black History Month. Whereas Kershaw County celebrates February as National Black History Month to recognize the vast contributions of African Americans to our nation's history and identity. And whereas Black History Month grew out of the establishment in 1926 during the second week of February of Negro History Week by Carter G. Woodson and the Association of the Study of African American Life and History. This week was chosen because it coincides with the birthday of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. And whereas Black History Month in the United States was first proposed by Black educators in the Black United States at Kent State University in February 1969. 6 years later, it was being celebrated all across the country. President Gerald Ford recognized Black History Month in 1976 during the celebration of the U.S. Bicentennial. He urged Americans to seize the opportunity to honor the too often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. And whereas the celebration of Black History Month is a positive way of recognizing the culture and history of African Americans as vital to the core beliefs and values of this community. And whereas the contributions of African Americans have been vital to the growth and development of Kershaw County. And whereas Black History Month is a time to honor the trailblazers who have made history, like District 2 County Councilman Sammy Tucker Jr. and City of Camden Mayor Alfred May Drakeford. And whereas Kershaw County Council strives to close the equity and outcome gaps for African American citizens through policies and practices that reflect the experiences of African American citizens, ensure greater access and opportunity, honor history, heritage, and contributions. And whereas many individuals in Kershaw County have paved the way for Black achievement by their contributions to help move forward together, embracing diversity and creating change. We honor these trailblazers who have left behind a legacy to promote social justice and a growing awareness for stronger leadership and stronger communities. It is important to preserve our history, traditions, and culture by empowering our future generations to make positive differences to ensure equal opportunities, economic triumphs, and political victories that work to weave justice, freedom, and peace among all groups of people in Kershaw County. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Council of Kershaw recognizes that disparities exist in the various communities, diminish intentional positive conversation. However, County Council supports organizations and associations such as Concerned Citizens of Kershaw County, Camden Kershaw Branch of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, and Unity in the Community in their efforts to assist in creating intentional spaces in the community which provide opportunities for citizens regardless of class, color, race, or gender orientation, to experience challenges, affirmations, change, courage, gratitude, and to pursue their passion to unlearn traditions of misunderstandings. Adopted this day, February 14th, 2023. Is there a motion to adopt the proclamation.
I make the motion, Madam Chair, to adopt the proclamation.
Okay, Mr. Tucker?
I'll
Is there a
second.
Mr. Tomlinson. And discussion on the proclamation.
Madam Chair, if you may.
Yes, sir.
I just want to, I want to recognize a few folks that I know are in the audience. And before I do that, I just want to say thank you guys for putting this on the agenda. Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a very important month to the folks and citizens of Kershaw County and all throughout the world on the many accomplishments that have been done. But we try to do something local to make sure that the folks here in Kershaw County understand a part of our history. And with me saying that is that we have our president and our first vice, Reverend Kenneth Carter. He's back there. I saw him peeping there. That's him leaning his head kind of sideways. I hope the preacher ain't drunk. He asked for that one. And then we have Reverend Benny Mango, who's also sitting right beside him, who's our first vice. And we got two loyals that normally come to about every meeting, and that's Miss Martha Robinson. Raise your hand, Miss Martha. And is Miss Hessie Peterkin here as well? She's not here tonight, but we see them about every meeting. They're what we call good attenders here at the council meeting. I also want to recognize Miss Ann Davis. That's a lot of history there. I won't go how far back because I won't be telling things that I don't need to tell. But she's the president over the Concerned Citizens of Kershaw County, which is also an awesome group as well. But I thank all of you who has attended for this purposes of receiving this proclamation and the work that you continue to do in this community. A lot of it goes unnoticed and uncelebrated, but I know and many others know how important your organizations and your supports are. And I want to say hi to my grandson and my daughter-in-law, who I had no idea was going to be here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Any other comments? Well, hello to Mr. Tucker's grandson and daughter-in-law.
That's Preston and is Remy here? Oh, I didn't see Remy. I got two grandsons there, and their mother, Destiny Tucker.
And I want to thank my colleague, Mr. Tucker, for helping with this proclamation, and also Miss Ann Davis. We pulled up last year's, and we didn't want to just rubber stamp it and just change the date on it. We wanted to rewrite it and make sure it included everything about our community local to us. So I appreciate everyone that helped rewrite this and put some specific details in it so it would be specific to us. If there's no other comments, we'll go to a vote to adopt the proclamation. All in favor of proclaiming National Black History Month in Kershaw County? And it's unanimous. And we will take a picture. If I can invite the chapter of the NAACP, Reverend Miss Ann Davis, Concerned Citizens.
All y'all come up.
Yeah, anyone that would like to come up.
Luckily my phone works on shots. Hello. Hi there.
Yeah, it's good. I guess after Katie.
There we go.
All up here. Oh, okay. You said brother. I was like, what?
Yes. And read, and once they get the analysis. I do not have any athletes yet. That's it. Yeah, no, they're playing soccer. That's right, and that's what they need to do. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, we're going to move into our public presentation part of the agenda. We have two on the agenda tonight. The first will be the Santee Lynch's Council of Government Community Development Block Grants. Miss Sylvia Frierson. And council, do y'all have the handouts that
Yes, ma'am.
he gave? Okay. Hey, Miss Sylvia, thank you for being here tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me, Madam Chair and Council. So the reason I'm here, and I hope to do this again next year, but the reason that I'm here is because I've been getting asked not just by Kershaw County, but also by some of the other counties in the Santee Lynch's region. For those of you that don't know Santee Lynch's, one of the things that we do is we do grants management for the Santee Lynch's region. So back to the the needs assessment public hearings. So I've had people asking me, why are we doing this? What's going on? We don't remember it. So the past 2 years, due to COVID, we have actually been doing them virtual, which is over the phone. We advertise it like we normally do, but we haven't been getting a lot of participation. So mid-year, last year, I said to the grants management staff, I said, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start hosting them in person. We used to do it years ago. That's what I was told. I wasn't there. But we used to do it years ago, and I said, you know, we're gonna do it now. So what happened December 31st of 2022, last year, they said, HUD came in and said, guess what? No more virtual public hearings, so we have to do them in person now. So what I would like to do tonight and every year going forward is basically come and brief the council on, you know, just a high-level view of what's going to be available through CDBG funds, talk a little bit about the purpose of it, and hopefully we'll be more successful working together. So you can actually see the presentation. This is a high-level view of the CDBG program. We're going to talk about what is CDBG, the purpose of the Citizen Participation Plan, and the Needs Assessment Public Hearing. And then, of course, talk about the CDBG application deadlines. We do have a Needs Assessment Public Hearing scheduled for March the 14th in room 207, where I will actually go over the Citizen Participation Plan and the Community Needs Assessment Public Hearing survey. So basically, what is CDBG? So CDBG stands for Community Development Block Grant. This is a program that is administered by the Grants Division in South Carolina Department of Commerce. Please understand that the primary purpose is to address community development needs of the low to moderate income individuals in the communities. You're going to see where this starts to fit together in a little bit. So the Citizen Participation Plan, what it does is basically it provides guidance to the low to moderate income citizens, not just low to moderate income, but they are important, as well as the remainder of the locality as to the standards of participating with the community needs and when you actually apply for grants, all that good stuff. It lets them know basically what their rights are and what they can the information that they can actually get from their locality. Basically, what is the purpose of the community needs assessment, right? what happens is when you have your community come together in that public hearing, they're going to let you know what their needs are, okay? In that, the locality is going to understand, okay, well, let's look at all the needs, and then basically what we will do is we will prioritize those needs. And we'll come up with a plan, basically a plan. How are we going to move forward? What is it that we're going to work on? We will identify a project, and again, that's why Santee Lynch's is here. We will help you to develop a project, and then, of course, we will apply for the project. An example would be fire truck, maybe? Okay. Also, another example would be, GE up at here? That's another example of CDBG project. Okay. So I won't go over I won't break it down, but basically what you see for 2023, Department of Commerce for CDBG, they actually have $19.7 million available in grants. How do we actually get some of that? We're going to have to, once we develop and decide on our project, we're going to have to request an application. You go to the next slide, please. So basically, we have to request our application. There are actually 2 different rounds, right? Depending on what it is that you want to do a grant for, whatever project it is that you actually decide that you want to do. There's going to be 2 rounds. The first round, which would be mainly for community infrastructure, which is like water, sewer, drainage. That's going to be in April. To actually be able to do an application, we have to request that application March 17th. So you're going to request the application first, and then you will actually turn in the application about 30 days later. Anything else that you may want to apply for, maybe another fire truck, maybe you want to do some demolition of some dilapidated homes, right? That stuff would be in the fall. Basically, you would apply for that application August the 15th. Yep. And then the application would have to be turned in about 30 days later in September the 15th. So please understand, the whole purpose that I'm here is to make sure that basically that the council and the locality has the conversation or the communication with their community. Understand that the majority of the CDBG projects, the beneficiaries need to be at least 51% of those beneficiaries need to be low to moderate income. Okay, so it's not just about having the public hearing, it's about making sure that we identify those that would benefit from it. Okay, so basically I will do a more in-depth meeting at the public needs assessment, basically breaking down that community needs survey with the community and speaking about the community, the citizen participation plan. I think that's it. I basically have this to keep me from talking so much because I'll go off.
Sylvia, thank you so much for being here. Does anyone have any questions?
Madam Chair, if I may, just want to say thank you to Ms. Frierson. I know this has kind of been a whirlwind because I'm all out of place. This is not my realm of expertise, but I'm happy that you guys are back meeting in person. I just want to say, if you have any additional questions on dates and timelines, they're going to stay for a little bit in room 190, which is over here by the ladies' restroom, to answer any of those questions. But she will be back on the 14th to give you more in depth and take on those questions. Yeah, and I thank you and your staff. Y'all do a tremendous job throughout the region. You know, I don't have many prejudice things in me, but I'm prejudiced when it comes down to Kershaw County. And I don't mind saying it on the COG board, but I thank you. And I want to recognize Mr. John Thomas, who's also a COG board member back there, who stays on top of this stuff as well. And we appreciate all that staff does and you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Sylvia, I have a couple questions. Sorry.
No worries.
The March 14th participation meeting and plan, what time does it start?
6. Okay. I apologize. It starts at 6.
And do we have a map of the different localities that can apply, or anyone can apply? That's it in Kershaw County.
So basically the way it works is it's going to be the local government that would apply.
So we will apply on their behalf.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And we can talk more. We can do like a technical assistance visit on it if you'd like to, just to kind of really break it down for
Okay.
you.
So you would like as much participation from Kershaw County at the March 14th meeting
Absolutely.
as possible so that we can get some goals and plans.
I would like to tell you that Lee County, we're naming them the people to beat. They actually
Okay.
showed up with over 50 people
Over
up there.
50? Okay.
So I'm bragging on Lee right now. If anybody
Okay.
wants to outdo them.
And the 19.7 million, that's for Santee Litches, or that's a statewide pot?
So that is actually statewide.
Okay.
And basically Santee Lynch's only gets administration fee from it. So basically we'll get 10% up to 50,000 on that. That's
Okay.
all that we can get. We don't get it. Whoever the locality is that is awarded the grant gets it, and you guys give it to us.
Okay. Okay.
One quick question.
Yes, sir.
Derek Shoemaker, I'm a new council member, so
Yes.
please, indulge me. So I assume that the localities that this applies to are just those localities that are part of the Santee Lynch's COG, correct?
Say that again?
So these would just be the localities that are part of the Santee Lynch's COG and not, so Elgin, for example, my district has gotten carved into another COG, which is a different discussion for another day, but this would apply only to Santee Lynch's COG community.
So actually, this is statewide. It just so happens that you happen to be up under Santee Lynch's region. Any locality in South Carolina can apply for this. It's not just going to Santee Lynch's region.
If I may, Madam Chair, I'm
asking?
going to give him a little bit more clarity.
Okay.
Because I think you don't know this part. So
Okay.
in our region here at Santee Lynch's, we do not, this mic's about to choke me. We do not have the transportation part of Santee Lynch's in the West Watery area. So that's where he's going at. But all the other programs and stuff, you're eligible for in Lugoff, Elgin, and all that. It's just the transportation portion is in the CM cog, which we're fighting so hard to get out. So we're one of these counties that's got a split cog when it comes down to transportation only. But it's just transportation. Everything else, the whole entire county qualifies for.
Thank you,
Okay?
Councilman Tucker.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
that's very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Ms. Sylvia, thank you so much, and I'll see you March 14th for
thank
sure.
you.
Thank you.
All right, our next presenter will be Chairman Darrell Ogburn of the the Health Service District of Kershaw County. We named this presentation the State of the Health Service District.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A man with my reputation has to look to see who's turned his back to before I speak. A moment of personal privilege, if I may. I want to thank Danny for putting forth this proclamation. Having witnessed what those administrators up there went through firsthand, thank you for recognizing them. They hung tight, and now they've got a beautiful school, and thank you for recognizing them. Madam Chair, thank you for the invitation to come. This is my duty to come to you on a regular or irregular basis and tell you what's going on with the Health District of Kershaw County. First of all, let me tell you, and maybe some of the audience that may not know who we are, we renamed ourselves some years ago when we transitioned from the old hospital board to the Health Services District of Kershaw County. And that is the old hospital board. We own the hospital, we own the nursing home, and we have leased our hospital, thank goodness, to the Medical University of South Carolina. We're made up of 9 members appointed by this county council, and they are myself as chairman, Eric Bolin, vice chairman, TJJ, Donnie Wilson, Eric Gunter, Nick Moore, Nick is here with me tonight, Leo Scott, Walter Long, and Shannon West. This is an extremely talented group of men and women, and they work hard. But we bring our talents together, and we work very well together. And thank you, folks, for taking the time to vet people and to get them reappointed. This group is really fantastic. We are a special purpose district. We're created under the statutes of the state of South Carolina. We are not subservient to the county council. We are appointed by you, but we are a freestanding special purpose district. Mr. Dubose, am I correct? Thank you. Exactly. But we both represent the citizens of Kershaw County. We want what's best for them. I am thrilled to stand here today to tell you that 6 o'clock in the morning, we'll begin to move our patients into the carriage wing. We got approval yesterday for our... We got approval yesterday from DHEC for our kitchen, and Scott Neal and his folks are going to be there first thing in the morning and start bringing our patients in there. If you've not been up there and had a chance to go, I invite you to come. It is an absolutely beautiful piece of property and a beautiful structure. 90,000 square feet, somewhere in that range. We are upgrading from a 82-bed nursing home to 132-bed. 90 private beds, of which 22 are rehab, 42 semi-private rooms. They're organized in neighborhoods of 22 beds. Each neighborhood has its own kitchen, its own dining room, and its own living rooms. They're gorgeously decorated. The halls are wide. Everything's on one level, and it is just a fantastic building. Please come see it when you get a chance. Scott Neal is very proud of what we've been able to do, and he'll show you around from top to bottom. I'm here to say that the financials of the healthcare district are in good shape. I won't get into a lot of details about it, but we have roughly $1 million in unrestricted cash. We got 3.5 in our checking accounts and deposits, and $4.5 million in marketed securities. And that is your money. That is our money. That is the people of Kershaw County's money. I failed to mention that I have Sally Harrell here. Sally? Sally is our executive director, and we're happy to have her running our organization for us. We have a good cash flow. We've got an income from the tax debt set-off money that we have of around $2 million a year. We're anticipating about $1.5 million in investment earnings this year, and as soon as we get our nursing home up and running, we anticipate $1.5 million in revenue per year. We use some of this revenue to give back to our community. Nick Moore handles our grants program, and annually we generally give away about $500,000 to different organizations across our county who are focused on health care of our citizens. We think that's our obligation, and we're happy to be involved in that. We have plans and ideas and thoughts of continuing to build on that Beechwood property. We want to build some independent homes, maybe apartments, and maybe assisted living and memory. We haven't nailed down anything yet, but we're ready to move in that direction. Let's see. I want to say something right now, and I hope the people in the city hear me. From day one, the city of Camden has been a delight to work with. They worked hand in hand with us. Everything that came along that we needed some help with, they were there to help. And I want to just give them a big shout out here tonight. They have really been helpful. They've taken it on the chin for the last little while about some things that went on, but I'll tell you, I'm proud of what they did with us and how they worked with us. Very good. Near the end of our meetings every month, we go into an executive session and we discuss a lot of things. Last night when we left executive session, I got a motion that was adopted that the Health District of Kershaw County, in conjunction with the Medical University of South Carolina, is ready to commit $3 million from MUSC, $2 million from the Healthcare District to be appropriated to and I've got the written motion here that I'll leave with the Madam Chair, to do an outdoor recreation facility jointly with the County of Kershaw. We're asking you all to match that $5 million with another $5 million of your own money, and we'll work out the further details about that as we move along. The second motion that was made was that we would respectfully ask for a reply from the county within 90 days if possible, so that we can move forward with this project together. Our plan is to, we've discussed with a lot of people, is to hopefully to expand and upgrade Woodward Park here in the city of Camden, and to build a facility like other counties have where we can have ball tournaments and bring in, it'll pay for itself. The industrial development the economic development that we can have coming off of that is huge. I've seen some really good statistics on it. So that's what we are proposing to do jointly with the county council. And I want to say thank you to the MUSC. They have been a marvelous partner to work with after they took over our hospital. We have no more worries about the future of our hospital. They're here, and they're going to stay here, and they've been a great partner. And they've been willing to step up and do this, and commit some money, some of their own money, to help this project come about. So I would hope that we can work together and make this happen. Thank you again. One further thing I wanted to mention that just ran through my feeble mind is our health district is local. Our attorneys are local. Our accountants are local. Our financial advisors are local. We shop local. So thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that anybody may have.
Daryl, thank you for being here. And I want to give another shout out to City of Camden and Mayor Drakeford for her leadership, the municipality participation and help. I was going to say hey to Sally if you didn't remember, so I had your back, Sally. And thank you to the Health Service District for being forward thinking on this. It's a huge economic impact to host tournaments and get people coming into Kershaw County that we don't have to teach and feed and house so they can go somewhere else. So thank you for having that vision of where we need to get to moving forward. I don't have any specific questions at this time. Thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Yes.
I yield.
I just have a comment and a question. One is I just want to personally thank you. I know that when you're just joining an organization like this, there are a lot of people that reach out to you and give you advice about how local government, how the sausage is made. Chairwoman Quinn, Councilman Tucker, and Mr. Ogburn, you were one of those people. So personally, thank you for that help. And just so I'm clear, I think I am, but the $5 million that you're talking about would basically mean that if the county puts forward $5 million, we're effectively getting a $5 million. We're basically getting $10 million for the price of 5.
Exactly.
And I'm a travel baseball dad, or was. My son plays for the high school now, and I've seen the money that flows into these travel tournaments, and so I appreciate what you're saying, and just thank you. But I just wanted to clarify that. So thank you very much, Mr. Ogburn.
That's correct.
Mr. Tucker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chairman Ogburn, how are you?
I'm fine, Sam. You've been missing me, buddy.
Yes, sir. They got me in the dungeon. I'm going to get out one day. Couple quick questions I want clarity on.
All
right. So the vote you guys took last night, that's in your minutes, so that's in writing. And will we receive a letter to the council on
Yes.
that?
Okay. You will get a formal letter from us.
Right. And then in the 90 days you're speaking of, you want a formal vote from this body, council.
I guess what the motion was is we want to see that we're moving forward with the project and making sure that this happens. And I guess we're anxious to spend our money.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
get that project done as quick as we can.
Right, but I want to make sure that you're wanting a reply back committing within the 90 days.
Yes.
We don't have to have all the plans drawn out.
No.
You want the commitment within 90 days.
And we're not ready to write the check yet either.
Okay, all right. Well, y'all keep finding the money, and we'll come together up here and figure out how we can do a best plan moving forward for our citizens, because I think this is a lovely opportunity.
Well, it gives me an opportunity, Sammy, to say how delighted I am to look across this table and see the next generations of leaders in our community.
Yeah, I'm an old man up
here. The mantle is passing, and us old guys are going to go off to pasture, and some of us need to go now.
You talking about me?
But no. but it is exciting to have some young folks on this council,
Yes, sir.
some forward thinkers, and some people who can drive our county forward. Not to say that the ones that have gone haven't, but sometimes I had been around politics for more than a few years, and sometimes you get stale.
Right.
And it's refreshing to have new enthusiasm and excitement and different ideas.
And a female family, right? And a female family.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So, thank you, Sammy, for all your service on this board for all these years.
Thank you as well for all your service.
Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Brent.
Mr. Ogburn, thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much for putting all this together. Your presentation is wonderful.
Thank you.
This is what government is about, this public-private partnerships. We can't do this all ourselves, and MUSC Health Service District coming together with the county. This is an opportunity we have to act on. Doesn't come around. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Our county, going back, we were built on public-private partnerships. And then recently, the past years, they've been lacking. We appreciate y'all stepping up, giving us this opportunity. I'd like to point out that this is more than just Woodward Park. We're tying together Scott Park, the Aquatic Center, and Woodward Park. I mean, I grew up playing on those baseball fields, football fields, soccer fields. It was a family fun day. Every single jamboree kickoff. I'd love to see that again. This is a huge opportunity for our county. Not only keeping citizens healthy, but giving them an opportunity to go out and exercise. Economic development opportunity. But thank you so much for all you do. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was the board's hard work that did it. It wasn't just me.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
If
Mr.
I
Russell.
may. 2 years ago, you and I think, met at the House of Pizza. And I thought, all right, what's this gentleman got up his sleeve? And I'm going to tell you something. Getting to meet you and getting to know you has been one of the pleasures of serving here at Kershaw County. Mr. Ogburn does a fantastic job. He keeps everybody informed, and he keeps things fluid. We really appreciate the job you do and your leadership.
Thank you, Russell. That means a lot to me.
Yes, sir.
I asked for this job because I wanted to give back to my community that had done so much for me over the years. And I was rewarded with the opportunity to sit on this board, and I've been further honored by being permitted to serve as chairman.
Well, I can tell you, we couldn't ask for anybody better. Thank you.
Thank you kindly. I told the board, when you get ready for me to go, please tell me. Don't embarrass me by beating me. Just tell me and I'll get out of the way. But it has been a delight, one of the best things I've ever been involved in my life. My goal, personal goal from a long time ago, from the time we set up the health district and leased our hospital, was to put together an organization that could throw up, let's just pull a number out, $5 million a year to be spent back in our community in ways to make our community healthy. You put something together like that belongs to our citizens, that you can put that money out there and partner with other organizations across our county, you can have an impact on health. It may take 20 years to do it, but you can have an impact on health for our grandchildren. And so that has been my goal, personal goal for a long time. Don't know if we can get there, but we'll try. And keep sending us good people over there on the board to serve. If y'all get ready for me to step down, tell me too, I'll leave.
I want to dovetail on what Mr. Chairman Armand just said. Nick Moore, who most of y'all don't know, he's a former co-worker of mine. We worked for the same organization there for a few years when I was a state trooper. Didn't know what he was getting into. I mean, and it was not a pretty picture when he got there. But I appreciate you, young man, stepping up and hanging in there and being able to volunteer yourself for more duties and responsibilities on this board, because I watched you grown from, I don't know what the devil I just volunteered for, to being in positions where you make a big, big difference. And I wanted to say that. And that's something of your leadership, young man. Thank you, Chairman.
That's kind of you, Sammy. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Nick is my wingman and my bodyguard.
He's big enough.
Yeah. So,
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Cato.
I would just like to reiterate what these gentlemen have said and Madam Chair said. I appreciate your service as chairman. I really do. And I want the people too to know, I'm here to represent District 6 for a minute, but I want them to know that this doesn't exclude us. This frees up other monies that we can use to help build up the upper part of the county also. So that money is going to help the whole county and not just one particular area. So I thank you for that.
Thank you, Dan. That's been part of our discussion. It would relieve pressure on your budget to let you do some other things in some other places. And so thank you very much for your time and the kind words. But it's not me. It's the board. And they all work really hard, and we work very well together. I can't tell you the last time we've had a split vote. Nick, do you remember? Well, that's just the way we work together. And we come together so we can have a common agreement. And we're here tonight to tell you this. We think this will be good for our community. And hopefully we can do some more things down the road. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Chairman Ogburn, do you have any vacancies on the board, or do you have any reappointments that you need?
When the reappointments came up, and we reset it 2 years ago, so I think there's 3 people that come up this year.
Okay.
And that would be probably in May or June, somewhere along in there. I think
Okay.
maybe the terms start July 1 or something. But there'll be 3 people up, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's TJJ, Leo Scott, and Donnie Wilson.
Okay.
And all 3 of them will only have served 2 years.
Okay.
And I asked some of them the other day if they were willing if they wanted to be renominated, and all 3 of them said they would. They would like to be renominated. So that we'll get back into the rotation. There'll be 3 others coming up in another 2 years, and then another 2 years. So if we stay in that same rotation, won't have to worry about the situation we got in earlier.
Okay.
So
and if you or Miss Sally will just remind me when it gets a little closer. Okay.
We certainly
Thank
will.
you.
We certainly will. Thank you so much for your
Thank
kind
you.
words, and I will pass these words on to my board. So
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, 90 days is May 13th, so if my colleagues will start doing their research, I'd like to put this as a discussion item for the 28th, too. Right, moving right along, approval of minutes on the January 24th regularly scheduled meeting.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the minutes that has been submitted by our clerk to council. please.
Motion to approve by Mr. Tucker, is there a second?
I'll second that.
And Mr. Schumake, second. Any discussion?
Thank you, Ms. Lauren.
And I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the January 24th, 2023 minutes? And it's unanimous. We have no resolutions tonight, no ordinances. We're down to new business. First item of new business is the grievance committee appointments. This is now called the Employee Relations Committee. That does sound a little better, Mr. Templer. Whoever decided to change the name, that was a good idea.
Thank you.
And I will give you the floor, Mr. Templer, to let us know what you need from us and if you can explain the committee a little bit.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of council. What you have before you is the Grievance Committee, or formerly known as the Grievance Committee, which is now the Employee Relations Committee. We thought that the Grievance Committee name was a little too draconian, if you will. So we've also tasked this group of county employees to not only hear grievance hearings, which this group will, but they will also be a part of the +1 program where they select the nominees and the award winners for the +1 program. And that's just the start of it. We will task them with other items, but it's mainly in the spirit of employee relations and the welfare and morale of the employees. So what we're doing here today is appointing new members, 4 new members here to serve on this committee.
And these are your recommendations?
Yes, yes.
How did you select these employees?
What we try to do is go around and have representation from different departments, more so departments that are not contained within this building.
Okay.
And so try to have a diverse cross-section of employees.
Okay. And have they all been asked to serve on this committee?
Yes, and
Okay.
they all applied in the affirmative.
Okay. And I have one more question. Their schedule and their duties, does it allow for them to have an additional duty? Like, I wouldn't want to put someone that is already saturated with extra duties or too much for an additional duty.
Right, and so we won't overload them, but the grievance committee meets during business hours.
Okay.
And we do take that into consideration because not all departments are suitable for having employees be away for an hour or two on a grievance hearing, so we're aware of that.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Finn?
No.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Templer, looking to your far right on that chart, no problems. Very good. Looking to the next block over. I know this is probably not an intent. I know that for a fact. But we probably need to mix that up a little bit more on the next appointments. Sure. Because, and I know, I don't want someone on there just because of who they are. They got to be a good board member and open-minded. Right. But I want to be deliberate in seeking out those people. Correct. Okay? Thank you very much.
Mr. Tucker, thank you for bringing that up. That was a question to Ms. Reeder
Okay.
about diversity. So, any other questions for the administrator? Okay, and is there a motion to appoint these 4 individuals to the Employee Relations Committee at this time?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Jenny Ray, Matt Seals, Autumn Furnace, Liz Brown to a new Employee Relations Committee.
Okay, motion by Mr. Tucker. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And second by Mr. Shoemake. Any discussion on these 4 appointments? Okay, with that, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of Jenny Ray, Matt Seals, Autumn Furnace, and Liz Brown being appointed to the Employee Relations Committee indicate by raising your hand, and it's unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen. Next item of new business is the Santee Lynch's Council of Government appointment. There is a vacancy on the COG. This is placed on the agenda by Mr. Tucker, so I'll give him the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say this before I make my motion, is that this board is so important to our region, and I'll go into further details on some of the ways that this county has benefit. But at this time, we have a vacancy, and we're the only county who does not have our chairperson that's on the board. So I would like to make a recommendation that Chairwoman Katie Gwynn serves on the Santee Lynch's Region Councils of Governments. That is my motion.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Tucker, second by Mr. Tomlinson. Mr. DeBose, do I need to recuse myself from this?
No.
Or this is part of the?
Hopefully,
I
yes, sir.
think you could vote, but I think it might be wise to recuse yourself.
Okay,
I don't think you have to, but it might be wise.
okay. Then I will recuse myself at this time.
If I may?
Yes, Mr. Tucker.
Okay, so this position would be, she would be joining the board with myself, Mayor Drayford, Mr. John Thomas, as I mentioned earlier, Mr. Brad Hanley, Councilman Brad Hanley from Elgin, Mr. Kenneth McCaskill from Bethune. And what we have done as Kershaw County has grown, we've strategically made sure that we had all areas of this county represented: Bethune, Elgin, Camden. All these are council seats that we could appoint different people, but we want to make sure that we have this whole totality of Kershaw County in mind when we sit down and discuss business. I say that because if you look at the bypass that's built over there, those were close to probably $35 billion of monies that this county did not have to spend. And, and it was a lot of runovers with that. That project started out in the 20s. It might have got up to 40. I can't remember. I got a headache after they kept telling us the price tag was more and more and more. It's done a lot of good things in this region. We're looking at Black River Road currently now. That's just going to be tremendous for that subdivision and also the industrial park we have there. That's huge. That's money that we're not increasing fees and taxes and millage on our own folks. The money's coming out of the federal government, out of Columbia, and I know they print it like it's paper money, but I've always been of the mentality, if someone's going to get it, I darn sure won't be in line to get some. And so that's what Santee does. It drags down those federal dollars and turns them into projects within our region. Now, keep in mind, we have 3 other neighbors, Sumter County, Clarendon County, and Lee County, so we have to be willing to cooperate and collaborate on different projects to agree so everybody can get a little piece of the pie. But this is a very important organization, and it's not going away no time soon, despite how one may personally feel about it. Thank you.
I would just like to say, I think it's a great idea, fully supportive. We were talking about the COG earlier as it relates to transportation. And one of the things that Elgin suffers from is, from the transportation side, is we're in a separate COG that deals, you're fighting with Richland and Lexington dollars. And in fact, as of last week, if you went on the Midlands COG website, it doesn't even list Kershaw County when it lists. So I very much want to see everything we can do to get Elgin into this group. Yes, and so obviously that's not part of this discussion, but I understand that having a strong COG will help us pull Elgin over. So I'm fully supportive and know that Chairwoman Gwen will do a great job. I think it's a great idea.
Absolutely. And let me say this too about Kershaw County. We show up for these meetings. we vote. So where Sumter County may outnumber us in seats on the board, well, they got to come to vote. We come to vote, and we come prepared. And that's a good core group. I think it's 8 or 9 of us. I have to list everybody out to know that actually sit on committees, take the time out of their busy schedules, and come to the meetings. And that's why Black River Road right now is currently thrown back into what we call the TIF, which is how we rate our projects, because it was one time taken out. But we fought and made the arguments that this needs to be in and that we weren't going to get sucked up in the census. And all that's taking place. But I'm just trying to tell you on the important work that the COG does, and we'll be so much better off having a Madam Chair lady to serve on there as well.
Okay, at this time, I will call for a vote on Mr. Tucker's motion that the chairwoman of Kershaw County Council serves on the COG. All those in favor? And Mr. Brazel, Mr. Tucker, Mr. Shoemake, Mr. Tomlinson, and Mr. Cato.
And Madam Chair, you abstained. You abstained.
Ms. Reeder, I abstain. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
But for the record, you're not required to. Just
Right.
in case you want to vote in the future, you can.
Vote for yourself, Madam Chair. Vote for yourself.
That just seems a little weird. Like,
no, I do it all the time.
Okay.
Vote for yourself.
All right. No further new business, no old business to discuss. We will go into council briefings. And Mr. Shoemake, District 3, we'll start with you.
Again, I'm brand new, so I don't have a lot other than that. The infrastructure is a really big deal to me. The COG is a really big deal to me, as you can probably tell just from tonight. I appreciate Councilman Tucker's assistance in helping me study this process and learn it better so that we can come after it. But it is my fervent hope that we find a way to get Elgin and its accompanying dollars into the Santee Lynch's COG as to transportation, or get the Midlands COG to do what it's supposed to do, but I'm not sure. I think the first one's going to be easy. So, but again, I appreciate the opportunity to serve Elgin and look forward to the next several years doing so. So thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Tucker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've got a couple things that we need to do. One, I want to say welcome, Mr. Shoemake, to your first meeting, and congratulations. I'm happy of the governor's moving forward on your appointment, and look forward to working with you. I also want to say to everybody, but especially to all the ladies, happy Valentine's Day. Big commitment, Madam Chair, for you to come. You might be in trouble when you get home, but I'm going to call him up and prepare him not to be too mad, okay? Out here with all these guys on Valentine's Day. I want to also share some information I have. Take one, pass it down. On the council retreat that she's going to talk about, and the committee, and it should be 3 pages. There is a physical, the first one is the physical page of 2024 budget workshops. Kind of look those over and get with the chair, Madam Chair, and see if any of those conflict you guys. And if not, that's kind of the scheduled date that Ms. Lawrence put together. And we would go with that. There's room in there for a little makeup if we need to, right, Ms. Lauren? And then you should have your sheet for the retreat that's laid out. That's on one of the staple pieces. It says, I think it says retreat on it. And Madam Chair put this schedule together last week for us, and she'll go into more details. And then you got one for the workshops, who's presenting on what days and times. And we're going to try to stick to schedule, but we will not deprive anybody from asking questions and learning. We understand that this is a young council in age and in experience. I think Chairman Argument called me old, but I'm going to let him slide. I'm getting older.
Experience.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Madam Chair. So look those over. If you have any issues, get with myself or Madam Chair to or Ms. Lauren to try to see to make sure that we can have as much participation as possible. We want to move through this and be done with our departments as early as, I think, Ms. Lauren, the end of April? 1st of April. So it's going to be hopping pretty good. She'll take good care of us as far as, making sure we have the things that we need. And I look forward to sharing and debating and asking questions on this financial budget cycle that we're in. Thank you, Madam Chair, and welcome to the COG.
Thank you. Mr. Brazel.
Yes, thank you. I don't have a whole lot, but I would like to give a big shout out to Mr. Bill Robinson. You in here still?
Yes, he is.
All right. He formed the Knights Hill Historic Preservation Board, and so far he's received a $5,000 grant, and they're using some of that money, and I think the Recreation Department is helping as well. Is that right? Okay. And they're working on basketball courts outside, getting some bleachers, and really pouring into their community in their park. And we've had some meetings out there. Councilman Tucker and I, we attended a community meeting and really enjoyed getting to know you guys and getting to meet you. And any way we can help moving forward, just let us know. Wow. I know all the young people in the community are going to have a good time out there playing ball and just being outside, right? So we're thankful for people like you in our community. Yes, sir. That concludes my report. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Brazel. Mr. Cato.
I'm going to be short and sweet. I think I've said enough tonight. But I do want to recognize tonight the teams of North Central High School and Lugoff Elgin High School wrestling teams. Both these wrestling teams went to the state championship over the last week, and they come home runners-up, but they're still winners to us. And I just want to congratulate them on making it that far. It really takes a lot of commitment and effort on these athletes' part to contribute to their schoolwork and dedicate themselves to the sport. And I just want to say congratulations to them on their accomplishments. Appreciate the council, and I appreciate everything that we got accomplished tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Cato. Mr. Tomlinson.
Derek, welcome. Tonight's meeting, I think, was a record time since I've been on council. So I'm going to be short and sweet. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Thank you all for the participation. I think we got a lot accomplished. Done, Madam Chair.
Mr. Tomlinson. All right. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. I think that was the message there. Mr. Shoemake, I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad we have a full, not tonight, but I'm glad we have a full council now. So I'm very excited to work with you. Congratulations again. I have a couple photos that I just want to show everybody. Kershaw County had Night to Shine last Friday. It is a prom for special needs. It's not just for Kershaw County. Anyone can come to Kershaw County's Night to Shine. There were 116 honored guests that attended this prom. There were 223 volunteers, and I'll have to get the metrics of hours they put in because I'm sure it's unbelievable. Friday night, there were 600 people all celebrating God's love for people in the special needs community. Here's a picture. Wow. These are all the deputies. I want to give a shout out to Kershaw County Sheriff's Department. Each deputy that worked security that night volunteered their time, no overtime, no compensation whatsoever. They were there to make sure the special guests were safe. And the next picture is a picture of the actual prom and everybody in it. So it's a very special night, and I think it's really awesome that Kershaw County has one. They're not everywhere. It happens on the same day everywhere in the world, and we have one right here in Kershaw County. And we have people travel very far to come to Kershaw County. So I wanted to recognize that happened. The retreat, February 24th and Saturday, February 25th. There will be a 2-day retreat. We plan on 2 full days. The briefs from the departments, there'll be 35 departments, briefing council. The public is welcome to come and listen. Absolutely. The reason it's 2 days and maybe a little more robust this year is because we have a very junior council, and I wanted to make sure each department gave us the information that they thought was important. So that's why it's a little longer. I want to thank Sammy. You are very organized. Thank you for getting
Miss Lauren.
Miss Lauren and Mr. Tucker, very organized with the Finance Committee, and thank you for getting this schedule out to everyone. The administrator and I are still working on the clerk interviews, even though we want to keep Miss Reeder because she's amazing. And I didn't get a chance after Chairman Ogburn spoke, but I want to say thank you to MUSC. Thank you for their commitment in our community. Sue Shugart is doing an amazing job, and they are wonderful. They're taking care of my husband right now, too. So they are awesome community contributors. So thank you to them. And that is all I have. Mr. Templer, we'll go to you next.
Madam Chair, members of council, I have just one thing, since y'all kind of hit everything on the council retreat and the dates and all. I owed you some information from our last meeting on the mobilization cost for the fire station, and that was $30,000.
Okay, thank you.
And that is my report.
30,000?
I have nothing.
30,000, you said?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Danny.
Mr.
Madam
DeBose.
Chair, I have nothing.
Thank you. All right, we do have an executive session to discuss administrative briefing personnel. So we do need to go into executive session for that. Is there a motion to go into executive session for a personnel matter?
Madam Chair, make a motion to go into executive session for a personnel matter.
Mr. Tucker makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
And Mr. Cato seconds. All in favor of going into executive session? And it's unanimous, right? We'll go into executive session in the back room. Mr. Templer, who else do you need?
The attorney, myself, and y'all.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to leave executive session?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Tomlinson makes motion. Any second?
I'll second.
And Mr. Shu makes second. Right, we are out of executive session. Back to our agenda and its adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Mr. Tucker and Mr. Brazel seconds. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, gentlemen.